because at that point, we were 3 hours into the pay-per-view, 4.5 hours total, and we've still got the double main events coming up. And here, have this one.
Did you know
there's more of it?
Did you know it was a double main event? Did you know Swerve Lashley was one of the main events? Because I didn't know it until they said it on the pay-per-view.
Well, I think they pretty much figured out that, boy, looking at that card, we made a mistake with our world title match, and nobody gives a shit about most anything else, so maybe they'll be interested in Swerve and Lashley. And I can't say it was not misplaced. Because, and I mean, remember, Swerve was the guy that was just kicking ass and winning everything and doing everything, and then the people started liking him, and instantly, as soon as they realized the people started liking him, everybody beat the shit out of Swerve. He got everything taken away from him. And then he switched back heel again, we thought, and people kind of liked him again, but then now they just like to yell Swerve's house when Nana yells whose house, and otherwise they're not yelling much, and there's not many people in the house. And this is what I was talking about earlier, is that Swerve versus Lashley, great main event, great pay-per-view match, not this quick. And with what they've done on television, I made mockery of it the other day when Swerve came out and knocked Lashley on his ass twice the third week he's been on television or whatever. And then you knew that Lashley had to win this match because it's too early for him to get beat, but it's too early for him to have a match with Swerve. They were going for, if Swerve and Lashley were equivalently over in their world, on their roster, in their presentation, and then, boy, we have this big match, but Lashley just got there, and they've done damage to Swerve with the booking to where Swerve is still at a point where he needs to look fairly strong because he's had a lot taken away from him. But Lashley can't be selling now because he just got there and he's the biggest beast in the fucking zoo. So don't have this match right now. Have Lashley against a mid-card babyface in his first pay-per-view appearance that he can fucking demolish. And they have no patience, and they don't know how to time anything or how to get somebody in and get them over to a level. And again, for the people who didn't hear it, I'm not saying Lashley's not over with wrestling fans. More people know who he is than most people on this show. But in this environment, position him. How are we to take him as viewers? And when he in front of 600,000 people on TV, Swerve just knocked him on his ass and made bumblefucks out of his manager and partner. And for a sixth of that audience, Bobby Lashley beats the shit out of Swerve. You're supposed to want to pay to see the babyface get even, which means you do the angle where you get the heat on the heel in front of the most people, and then make them pay to say. Now, having said all that about the timing, this was probably the best match on the show for business reasons, for accomplishing something, for the right finish, and for, both guys involved being main event level talent in this situation. And Lashley was dominant through most of it and manhandled Swerve, and Swerve fought from underneath, and both of their stuff looked good. Nobody looked like they was silly or fucking, they didn't stand there and allow each other to be chopped. Lashley's not going to go for that. He's too smart for that. And they did a little business with Shelton where he tried to interfere a couple times and they kicked him out of ringside. And then Swerve had to fight later on in the match to really open up and get his shit. And then he jumped off the stairs and double stomped Lashley through the Spanish announce desk, which looked great to me. And that's kind of, if that had been the only time we'd seen a human being, male or female, fly through a fucking table or a desk that night. Wow, can you imagine? But it was like number 5 or whatever. But then, he gets a 2 count with the double stomp. And then Lashley rolls to the floor and belly-to-bellied Swerve on the floor and speared him through the railing. And then got back in the ring and speared him again and got the hurt lock on him, and a referee rang the bell. It wasn't too long. It wasn't silly. They didn't try to recreate their Japanese wrestling heroes' signature moves. Swerve was the agile, gymnastic type because that's his style, but Lashley kept him grounded enough that it didn't get ridiculous. And, again, it was a great debut for Lashley to get him over to face a top guy, but he was already in the ring with a top guy. And, I just wish the timing had been better for this match. They could have run Swerve and Shelton for a pay-per-view match and maybe even a couple, 6 weeks on TV. And then here comes Lashley but whatever. And then they rolled Nana in and he begged and groveled and then they hurt locked Nana. But can they please let Nana just say, fuck it, I'm going to go down swinging and throw a couple punches because he's a babyface manager. People are supposed to like him. And they don't like cowards and people who don't help their friends out. But do you agree with me that based on this field, that if Bobby Lashley had not debuted with the way Shelton Benjamin has looked, you going to tell me that Shelton versus Swerve couldn't have been a pay-per-view match to lead to the next big pay-per-view with Swerve versus Lashley?
Potentially. I mean, there's a whole lot of done wrong here. And I don't think Swerve's booking, despite him getting over with the fans, which, is kind of going the other way, it seems like at certain points lately. But despite that, the booking around him's been horrible. Nothing makes any real sense. Things are escalated to ridiculous degrees for no good reason. And he's eaten a couple of pins lately. With that said, going into this, Lashley needed to go out there and just destroy him.
Yeah.
He needs to destroy everyone in his way right now. So when I say there's a whole lot of nothing good here, the match shouldn't have happened. Now, they did Swerve and Shelton on TV a few weeks ago. So obviously you couldn't bring that back.
Well, yeah, no, but that's what I mean. If they'd have started out with the thought that MVP is going to bring in Shelton and Swerve are going to have a problem and an ongoing issue leading to a pay-per-view match, and then we'll put Swerve over, but here comes Lashley. Then they could have got more time to build everything, and Shelton wouldn't have been cast aside so quickly, and you'd get more mileage.
And I worry about Shelton right now because I see that he's in the Continental Classic tournament, so either he's going to win or he's about to eat a bunch of pins in the tournament from people that you're like, how the fuck is he in there with this guy? How's it competitive? But the other thing is, with Lashley, with Shelton, and with MVP, out here, every time we've seen them in front of the camera, at the press scrum, where they stole the show, they're always dressed like star athletes. The star athlete, typically throughout history, didn't walk around dressed like a bum. Usually either the team required there to be a dress code or they just realized, I don't want to look like a bum. There's a lot of wrestlers who are multimillionaires who still think, I want to dress like a bum. I guess for the bum credibility. The bum audience is a big demo. But every time you see Lashley, MVP, and Shelton, they're dressed like star athletes. They're dressed like stars. They carry themselves that way.
What's MVP stand for?
Montavious Voluminous.
Allegedly, but the
Porter?
play on word MVP, most valuable player.
Right.
Talking about blue chip athletes.
What does it stand for?
Babies.
What does it stand for? What is his name? Tell me his name.
Montel Vontavious Porter.
Is that it?
That's it.
It's Montel, it is?
It's not Montel, it is. It's Montel Vontavious.
I didn't realize it was he never says his name.
It never says his name?
The sad thing is you wait for Tony to blow something when there's something that, I feel like in a way people don't go for the layup. They think they have to make things complicated, but there's a layup right here with the Hurt Syndicate. The way they carry themselves, how over Lashley has been on the shows. We'll see what they do, but...
Well, the good thing is that with a lot of the other guys, most of the other guys, maybe all the other guys, except MVP, not only does Tony have input, but they also have input. And that's why a lot of this shit is so indie.
But the problem is they have to work with other people. So
but
they have input, so does Will Washington and Swerve.
Well, yeah, but with MVP and Lashley and Shelton, you've got three guys who are very smart to the wrestling business and know how to present themselves and know how to get themselves over. And you can't tell everybody to do everything. Some of this stuff, even if it's booked bad, a lot of the stuff boils down to bad instincts, bad training, and bad psychology amongst the talent. And at least you don't have that with these guys. And they may do some stupid shit, like everybody else does in this company, because that's the way that it's booked or that's the way that it's worked out. But nobody's going to be trading chops with Bobby Lashley. And nobody's going to be fucking, doing goddamn leaping tombstone pile drivers with Shelton Benjamin. Because they would have to allow that, and they're not going to.